It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video for Fear the Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be talking about some very interesting reveals or teases about the final season of Fear, which is season 8. We're going to talk about an interview that Lennie James did about his character Morgan, and we're going to talk about whether we should start preparing to say goodbye to Morgan. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. So of course, as fans of Fear the Walking Dead, we've grown to love the characters and the storylines that have kept us on the edge of our seats for years. Now, obviously, Fear hasn't been consistent. It's had its ups, it's had its downs, but I would say most fans agree that we've seen some pretty awesome characters on Fear, and this includes both original Fear characters and characters that crossed over, like Morgan, Dwight, and Sherry. And of course, with the final season of the show looming, many of us are eager to see how it all comes to an end and which of our survivors are going to survive and which are going to die. Timing wise, this lines up with my season 8 death predictions, which wasn't planned. Like, I didn't know that we're gonna get this information when I made that, but in my death predictions, I talked about how Morgan is probably not gonna die and how he's gonna cross over. But with the recent interview that Lennie James did, I'm starting to lean back on that opinion a little bit. And based on his interview, there are hints that the finale could be a pretty difficult one, particularly for Morgan, who's obviously one of the most beloved characters in the Walking Dead universe. I don't want to say on Fear because obviously he's not a great character on Fear. Some fans may disagree with me on that, but he's one of the best characters of the franchise. Lennie James talked about the challenges that Morgan will face in the final season. This is a direct quote from him. He says, "The final season for me was, what does Morgan live for? What does Morgan die for? I think that is the mission for season 8, James said. If he achieves what he set out to do, which was to take care of the people that he cared about most, where does that leave him? Does that leave him walking away? Or does that leave him in a puddle of blood on the floor, possibly about to turn?" Obviously, he is teasing that Morgan might die, which is where the topic of this video really is about. Now, I do want to say there's a bit of contradiction with what he just said, because if we look at what happened to Morgan when he first crossed over, he completely forgot about the people that he left behind. So I would argue that what he's talking about here should have been what his story should have been all about at the beginning when he first crossed over as well, and not just now because it's the final season. According to Lennie James, there are questions that Morgan will have to confront head on in the final season. Another quote from him: "In season 8, we addressed those questions head on, and that's what I wanted for Morgan. I wanted his finale to be an answer to those questions." So another interesting factor here is that he's not saying the writers wanted that. He's saying I wanted that. So that brings up the question, did he write his own story in the final season or not? Because if he did, then that might be something interesting, because we know the showrunners themselves didn't have any appetite for giving Morgan the proper story that he deserved. But I'm pretty sure Lennie James would want that for his character. He would want a conclusion that is satisfying. So that definitely makes me feel a little better about the situation. But for fans, the possibility of Morgan's departure is bittersweet. On the one hand, we've seen him go through so much, and it would be satisfying to see his journey finally coming to a fulfilling conclusion. But on the other hand, we've also been waiting for a very long time to see him reunite with some of the OGs of the Walking Dead universe, the people that he left behind, like Rick, like Michonne, like Daryl, like Carol. So I think everyone is waiting for him to reunite with those characters. Rick, particularly, one of the OGs of the Walking Dead universe. So if we're gonna take this as Morgan is gonna die in season 8 of Fear, that means that we're probably not gonna see any type of reunion between Morgan and anyone else, which is super frustrating and super disappointing. So, in light of Lennie James' comments, it's possible that Morgan's story could come to a tragic end. Here's another quote from him: I think they are unavoidable questions and unavoidable possibilities for this man. Again, teasing that his story is gonna be one that you're gonna want to see come to an end in some fashion in season 8 of Fear. Also, Lennie James said, that's what I wanted for Morgan's finale, to be an answer to those questions. So this goes back to what I said. It seems like they're really focusing on Morgan in the final season and they want him to get the proper conclusion, which is great. But then again, like I said, it's disappointing because if we do get that and if he dies, then we're not going to get any proper reunion with him and the other characters. And the other thing I do want to mention is things are going to be super interesting when it comes to how Madison is going to fit in. Because we do know that both Morgan and Madison are going to be the leads of the final season. We've heard many times that both get the same amount of screen time and the story is really focused on the both of them. So if they do kill Morgan off and if this is a proper ending for Morgan, then where does that leave Madison at? Does that mean that Madison won't get as satisfying of an end? Or does it mean that it's more likely that she's gonna get a sort of middle ground story and sort of halfway conclusion story because we're gonna see her again in the universe down the line, which is definitely a super high possibility, especially if Morgan does die. But while we can't predict exactly how the story will unfold, we can still look forward to the final season of Fear the Walking Dead, and I hope for the best for this show. Like I said, it's had its ups, it's had its downs, but I hope that it goes out with a bang. I hope that it doesn't go out in a disappointing way because then the whole journey of Fear and its characters would be sort of like a moot point, to be honest. But whether Morgan's story comes to an end or not, fans will always cherish the memories that we had with him, more so on the Walking Dead side than the Fear side, but still, his impact on the universe is unquestionable. No one can really deny it. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to say in this video. I am interested to know your thoughts and opinions, so share that in the comment section below. And finally, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.